was just eating a ketchup and banana snack when I found my son Kaden sitting in the backyard looking bored. That's when I realized he had no activities to do, so I decided to build a tree swing for him. I went in my garage and got all the tools and materials I needed. As I started building the swing, I realized the rope I had was too short to reach the tree, so I drove to the store and bought a longer strap. When I got back, I attached the strap to the tree branch, but then I slipped and was dangling from the tree. I thought it was over for me until I realized that I could just jump down. I finally got the swing up on the branch and I was done, but when I looked at the swing, I felt like it wasn't enough. So I went back to the store and found a ninja twister swing. I attached it to the tree, only to find out that the rope it came with was too short. Luckily, the straps I bought earlier came with 2 of them, and finally, I was completed. I called Kaden out and he was so happy, but after 2 minutes of playing, he was bored again. Comment below the games you like to play in your backyard. I like to drink my Prime out of a wine glass so I can feel fancy, but every time I do, my wine glass falls and breaks. So I decided to buy an Unbreakable wine glass. I only had 1 Prime left, so I wanted to make sure the glass was truly unbreakable. So the first test was me simply dropping it onto the floor and it passed. For the next test, I went on my balcony and let it go, and to my surprise, it didn't have a scratch. I wanted to try something even crazier, so I used my ladder to climb up on the roof. I threw it, and when I checked, it was still okay. Now it was time for the ultimate test. I laid the wine glass under my Tesla's tire and went into reverse. Although the glass broke, I was still impressed. Comment below something else I should run over. So my son Kaden and I were eating watermelon, and he saw that I had a pile of watermelon seeds. He asked why I wasn't eating them, and I told him that if you eat the seeds, a watermelon can grow in your stomach. Kaden got really scared because he had been eating the seeds the whole time. He asked what he could do to fix it, and at first I told him it might be too late. He begged for my help, so I said he had to follow my instructions exactly. First, I made him clap 1,000 times while hopping on 1 foot. Then I told him he had to eat a hot sauce sandwich. After that, I said he had to clean up his room and do some laundry. Next, I told him to write, "I will not eat watermelon seeds" 100 times. When he finished, he asked if he was cured. I told him that it looked like the watermelon was starting to grow. Kaden started yelling and running around, and that's when I finally told him I was joking the whole time. Comment below a time your parents lied to you. When I woke up, I shouted because I couldn't feel my legs. I asked Destiny for help, and she called the doctors. They told me that I had something called no runs. To heal it, I had to avoid running for a whole day. I thought it would be easy, but it wasn't. In the morning, I went to the park, but bees started chasing me, and I couldn't run away. Then someone asked me to catch their football, but I had to let it fall into the ocean. Later, while walking to my car, someone stole my wallet, and I couldn't chase after them. I was tired of not being able to move quickly, so I bought a Segway. I went back to the park, got rid of the bees, and caught the person who stole my wallet. Then I rode the Segway to the ocean to retrieve the football. But when I turned around to get back on the Segway, the thief stole it, and I couldn't chase after him. Share a time when you hurt your legs in the comments below. So I took my son Kaden out so he could rollerblade when all of a sudden he fell down. I told him to be a man and get up, but he said he couldn't. When I checked, his leg looked really hurt, like it might be broken. So I had no choice but to take him to the hospital. First I tried to carry him, but he was too heavy. Then I thought about calling my wife, but I remembered I left my phone at home. Kaden was in a lot of pain, so I had to act fast. Then all of a sudden, someone walked by with a wagon. I asked if I could use it, and they said yes, but only if I danced for them. After I showed them my best dance moves, they let me have the wagon. I put Kaden in it and started pulling him. Then Kaden said I wasn't going fast enough, and he hopped out of the wagon and started skating to the hospital. I tried to keep up, but then I realized his leg wasn't broken after all. Comment below a time you thought you broke a bone. So this is my son Kaden, and his room was a mess. So I decided to build his dream room. The first thing I had to do was get him out the house. So I sent him and Destiny on a fake scavenger hunt. While they were doing that, I started on his room, and it wasn't easy. Kaden's room was a complete mess. He even had random bottles of ketchup. Then I had to take his bed apart to make room for his new bed. Kaden was finishing up the fake scavenger hunt pretty quickly, and I was running out of time. Luckily, Destiny took him to get some ice cream, which bought me a little bit more time. Although it was hard, I got done right before they came home. Click the video below to see how his room came out. My cousin was thinking about getting a Tesla, so I let him try out mine. I showed him all the cool things the car could do, like how fast it could go. Once he got the hang of driving it, he started going really fast. I got really scared because I thought we might crash. I kept asking him to slow down, but he wouldn't listen and kept driving dangerously. I got so worried that I called 911 for help, but they didn't take me seriously and hung up on me. I tried to get help by yelling out the window, but my cousin closed it and locked it, so I couldn't get anyone's attention. I asked him to stop the car so I could get out, but then I realized we were in the middle of nowhere and I had left my phone in the car. I ran after him until he finally let me back in. I told him to relax, but he kept driving like a crazy person all the way home. Share a story about a time you rode in a fast car in the comments below. So I was at my condo eating pancakes when I got a delivery. I told Kaden to come downstairs with me, but he wanted to stay and play his game. I said he had to help me, and he wasn't happy about it. We went to the mailroom to get the package, and Kaden suddenly locked me in there. I yelled for help, but no one could hear me. I tried calling someone, but I didn't have any cell service, so I just sat down and waited for someone to open the door. Then I got hungry because I didn't finish my pancakes. I started eating my package when suddenly suddenly my shorts started talking. That's when I realized I had my walkie-talkie in my pocket. I asked who it was, and it was Kaden. I told him to open the door right away, but he said he would only do it if I bought him a new PlayStation game. I said no, and he replied, then enjoy staying in there. I had no choice but to agree to his terms, so he would open the door. Comment below what you think I did to him afterwards. 6 years ago, I heard that if you broke a mirror, you would have 7 years of bad luck. I thought it was a myth, and I broke a mirror. When I woke up the next morning, I had a cough that lasted for a year. In year 2, anytime I played drums, which is one of my favorite things to do, my drumsticks broke instantly. In year 3, anytime I ate something, it tasted like rotten eggs. In year 4, flies followed me wherever I went. In year 5, YouTube fired me, and I had to get a boring desk job. In year 6, anytime I played a C note on the piano, I got electrocuted. Now it's year 7, which means I'm about to start going through something else. Comment below what unfortunate thing you think I'm going to experience next. So I was eating my ketchup and animal crackers while playing PS5 when my mom called me saying we were having company for dinner. Then she told me to take the frozen chicken out of the freezer. She told me that having that chicken thawed out was more important to her than my life itself. I lied and said I already took it out. I was gonna do it eventually, but I just had more important stuff to handle first. I had to finish my game she so rudely interrupted. Then I started playing some basketball after that. I worked up an appetite, so I got a little something to eat. Eating made me a little tired, so I took me a little nappy nap. Just when the nap was getting good, Mom Dukes walks in and realized I lied about taking the chicken out. She woke me up out of my nap by whooping me like I stole something. Comment below what you think is the easiest way to make your mom mad. So I was just eating my favorite Halloween candy when I felt like someone was watching me. I looked to my left and saw a drone hovering right outside my window. I thought it was a harmless Halloween prank until I heard it say unalive mode. I didn't want to miss Halloween, so I had no choice but to make a run for it. I headed to my car and could hear it chasing me. I got in and drove away fast, but the drone was even faster. I decided to hop out of the car to lose it on foot, but everywhere I went, that creepy drone was there. It followed me to the gym, the bathroom, and even the mailroom. I didn't want to be on the run forever, so I hid in a corner. When it came into the room, I grabbed and tackled it to the ground. When I looked at the drone, I realized it was mine, and it was just trying to return home. Comment below your favorite Halloween candy. I was about to eat my ranch and chocolate muffins when suddenly I heard a chicken cluck. A chicken had attacked me when I was a kid, so I've been scared of them ever since. I grabbed a few things to protect myself, just in case it was the same chicken back to cause trouble. I started searching the house for the chicken, but every time I went into one room, I would hear the clucking coming from another room. I needed to figure out a way to lure the chicken out. First, I turned my hallway into a road, thinking the chicken might try to cross it, but I heard the chicken laughing. Then I built a little chicken house and waited for the chicken to go inside, but I heard the chicken laughing even louder. Finally, I followed the sound of the laughing chicken to the hallway closet. When I opened it, it was my son Kaden with a toy chicken. Comment below a time you pranked your parents. So I just moved into my new condo and connected my new Wi-Fi, but for some reason it didn't work. So I called customer service and they told me to unplug it and plug it back in to get it working. I did what they said and still I had no Wi-Fi. The guy then told me to take out the batteries, wash them in the sink, and put them back in, but that didn't work either. So then he told me to unplug the router, take it to any fast food restaurant, buy some food, and mail it to his company. I did it, and when I came back home, the Wi-Fi still didn't work. He said that the router might have some dust in it and to stand on my table and shake the router around. After I plugged it back in, I still had no Wi-Fi. Then the guy told me to sit it in the sun for 10 minutes, plug it back in, and message him afterwards. After 10 minutes, I plugged it back in and messaged him, but I got an error saying he was on his lunch break and thank you for the food. I was just about to eat my burnt chocolate chip cookie when I heard yelling at my door. It was the neighborhood bum Yermy. He told me that earlier while he was messing around with the car, he found a date. It was his first date ever, so he wanted my help. I let him take a shower, taught him table manners, and took him to get new clothes. I even gave him tips on how not to scare people and how to be a perfect gentleman. It was finally time for his big date, and he was as ready as he could be. I even gave him $5 before he left. Suddenly, Yermy pulled out an old bottle of Prime, and it had today's date on it. The date he was talking about was an expiration date. Comment if you think I should get my $5 back. So I woke up on a park bench but had no memory of how I got there. So I checked my pockets and luckily I found my phone. Then suddenly a reminder popped up saying I had 1 hour left to claim my lottery ticket for $1 billion. I forgot all about that lottery ticket and couldn't find it anywhere. So I had no choice but to retrace my steps. I walked block after block using my phone to find my car. When I finally found it, I searched everywhere but couldn't find the lottery ticket. But then I spotted my gym bag in the front seat and realized I must have went to the gym. So I searched the whole gym and actually found my wallet. I opened it and found a receipt from my favorite restaurant. So I asked the restaurant manager to check the security cameras, and I couldn't believe what I saw. I had fallen asleep at the restaurant last night, and someone named Yermy stole my lottery ticket. I found him later doing jumping jacks on a random street. He asked me for $5 in exchange for my ticket back. I gave it to him and ran to my car to claim my $1 billion. But when I called, they said Yermy already claimed the money. If you won $1 billion, what would you buy? There's nothing more frustrating than working out next to someone who doesn't know how to behave in the gym. At first, I had the whole gym to myself, so I was in heaven. I was in there feeling swole as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. But then some idiot walks in blasting his music, and I was instantly annoyed. I tried to ignore him and went to fill up my water bottle, but when I came back, he was using the machine I was on. That was strike one. So I kept working out and started bench pressing. Then I noticed him laughing and saying my form was wrong, trying to give me advice. Sure, my form could have been better, but I didn't ask for help. That was strike two. Then as he walked away from the bench, he farted the funkiest air biscuit I've ever encountered. I completely lost it. Forget about strike three. I whooped him so bad that I got banned from my favorite gym, and now I'm fatter than I've ever been. So I was home trying to do one-arm push-ups when I got a phone call from Brighton. He asked me to take him to choir rehearsal in an hour and not to keep him waiting or else. Now this isn't the first time Brighton forced me to drive him somewhere. He's always rude, never has gas money, makes me sing to him as a human radio, and worst of all, he always takes forever coming out the house. I don't feel like letting him waste my time today, so I finished my workout. I lost track of time and Brighton called me asking where I was. The GPS said it would take me 30 minutes to get to him, but I told him I was 5 minutes away. Everyone has told that lie, but I think he really believed me. It was just my luck that there was traffic everywhere I went. Brighton grew impatient and demanded that I sent him my location. I had no choice but to give it to him. He saw I was still 30 minutes away and surprisingly said it was okay. When I got there, he smiled, then threw me out of my car and drove himself to choir rehearsal.